For many, animation is just a form of entertainment.
Oh no! I broke the camera! I don't think it was the camera.
But for those who study it, it's much more. It's a medium, an art, a language. From hand-drawn sketches to digital wonders, it has shaped stories, inspired generation, and pushed boundaries beyond imagination. But where did it all begin, and where is it going next? My name is Jill Helida, and this is My journey begins in the city of Nairobi, where I met Benjamin Waithaka, an animation lecturer in ADMI. He got to show me around, and I had a chance to have hands-on experience with an animation software. He got to explain to me the history of animation and its evolution journey throughout the year.
Well, animation has been there over the centuries, even before the advent of digital tools and modern cinema. We've had animations in various forms. From the cave paintings, whereby we had very many cave paintings of different regions of the world, and they used to draw animals with like 6 feet, 7 feet. It was an attempt to create the illusion of motion. Okay? If you look at Egyptian murals and even Greek pottery, they usually have pictorial sequences of telling stories. So ancient Greeks, that's exactly what they were able to do. That is pre-cinema, pre the digital time. And coming on to, there are several inventions that came in from around 1825. The zoetrope is like a cylinder that used to be turned with a light in the middle, and it creates the illusion of motion. Flip books were where they used to draw, okay? And then you just flip the papers, and it creates the illusion of motion. And also some early versions of cinema were from China, Indonesia, around that area, around Asia, where they used to do puppetry. And they used to have screens and light, and then they used to do some puppetry behind that, and it creates like kind of moving images and like a cinema. So those were early forms, early versions of animation. That is before the digital age. So when you come to cinema, animation really came into its own when photography and film now was invented. That is when now animation now came to cinemas. That's exactly that point that now we dove into cinema. Not just the digital medium, that is just before the digital medium, but traditional cinema as it began. That's where animation came in. And that's when you come to understand that animation is not a genre. Animation is film. I mean, it's moving images. So the same thing you do in live action, you'll do it in film, in animation, but you have to draw everything or model everything or create everything from scratch. But the fundamental principles are exactly the same.
Is the drawing, from what I've heard, is the drawing like 2D and 3D? Like, how do you differentiate between the two?
Okay, the drawing at the time is 2D. Essentially, from like the cave paintings and all, it's purely 2D. And even 3D, when you start watching it, is actually 2D. Okay, when you're creating it is when it's actually 3D. But after you've created it and done the rendering, everything now becomes flat. It's literally 2D. And people confuse 3D cinema, you know, the glasses, with 3D animation. Those are two different things, totally different. 3D animation is where you use digital tools and softwares to create animated amateurs that have a third dimension. Okay, so that third dimension allows us to move around the scene. It's like having a film set where you can be able to move around. Okay, that's 3D. Okay, 2D, you just draw flat on one plane. You can't go behind everything else. In 3D, you can render out an image that looks 2D. And today, a lot of people are watching a lot of 3D and they think they're watching 2D. If you watch a 2D animation, and you're seeing perfect reflections, perfect fire, perfect smoke. It's actually 3D rendered in 2D, because it's easier now to work with it rather than have turn around things within the 2D. Although it still works very well, but it's the way you make it. That's where the difference is the way you make it. For 3D, it has a whole new branch as compared to 2D. For 3D, it veers off into VFX, it veers off into realism and all that. 2D doesn't. It sticks just there. But this other one has so many other applications. That is why it has become very, very popular over time.
What are the ways animation, AI is going to be incorporated in animation?
So far, a lot is happening in the AI space, and AI is in its infancy. It's very disruptive in every other industry that you can foresee. But also, we are starting to get to understand what AI can do to us. It helps all those repetitive tasks that you're always doing, right? And it's actually an enabler, all right? It is an enabler. It is allowing us to do things faster than we did before. Although now it's bringing in some ethical and legal issues. Again, the authenticity of what you're doing. Now, if I do something in AI, do I really own it? Is it authentically mine, or it's just a machine that did it? And is it a one-click solution? And the answer is no. The moment you delve into AI, you realize it's really not a one-click solution. You have to use it in accordance to your industry, like for the animation industry. So we use it for pre-production. Like ChatGPT is what everybody is talking about. And then DeepSeek comes in and just throws them off the crown. But at the end of the day, ChatGPT is not really going to help you if you don't know what you're looking for. We use it for pre-production, for example, for just brainstorming your ideas, roughing out a draft script, things like that. So if you do not know how to write a script, even if you're given the AI tool, it's not really going to help you. If you are editing, because you see, in animation, we also do a lot of editing. Let's say you're doing color correction or even the LUTs, the lookup tables. If you do not understand why they are being used, even if you have them, you're really not doing anything much. So you have to understand the specific industry that you're in and use AI as a collaborator, not a competitor. You cannot compete with technology. But what you can do is collaborate with it to be able to enhance and augment your creativity. Okay? So whatever it is you want to do, it augments it at the end of the day. So it's nothing, I don't think it's something to fear. And I've told you from the history of animation, you see, they were told computers cannot animate. Today, computers are the only way to animate. Were artists thrown out of their jobs? No, they are still using the computer. But at the time, they were looking at it as this thing that is coming to replace you. Okay? So AI is not going to replace us, even in animation. AI, actually, as an animator, I'm not going to be replaced by AI. I'm going to be replaced by an animator who knows how to use AI.
Now, let's get to hear some of ADMI's students with their take of AI in the animation industry.
My take on AI in the animation industry is quite different. AI was brought into the world to help people in either their personal work or even in the creative industry. Now, AI is very computerized. It's not as natural as the way humans would make their own art. And I know even though we may think that AI is going to take over the world, it will never beat what humans will do, because our brains are very original, our ideas are very original, and they can never be the same as AI.
AI is a very important tool in the animation industry. However, I think it contributes greatly because it reduces the animator's workload by, for example, it analyzes human expressions into making the characters, the animated characters. And despite that, I think AI has no ability to create just like how animators can create.
I think they're both the same, because animators can actively participate in making CGI and still focus on the traditional hand drawings. Basically, it's like the traditional hand drawings can be the basis for CGI, since CGI is a more advanced level of animation.
Are there examples of AI softwares that can be used, like I know for film there is NVIDIA AI. You can just prompt it, you give it a script, and it can give you a storyboard or a similar story that you can use to find an idea of how to go through your film. Is there an example of an AI tool that can do that?
Not really, because they are the same AI tools we are using. You see, like it's like saying ChatGPT. You can use it in any creative process for pre-production. Okay, you can use DALL-E for your storyboards. So at the end of the day, it's all these AI tools. There is no particular one that is one that answers everything. No, you'll have to use them separately depending on what you want. And you notice what we are speaking about, especially in the creative space, is Gen AI, generative AI, where it kind of generates. For animation, there is also deep machine learning. It's called motion capture. Okay, but most of it is generative AI. So at the end of the day, how does it generate? I have to tell it what to generate. So anything that is Gen AI can be used in our production processes. Yeah.
The question is not will AI replace artists, but how will the two work together? And so, with each line drawn, each frame created, they take another step towards the future in animation. For these students, it's just the beginning of a long life adventure. In animation, as so in life, the possibilities are endless.